When a proud white officer stops an older black man outside the courthouse, he thinks he's just doing his job. But what happens next leaves everyone speechless. Because the man he tried to humiliate in public isn't a criminal, isn't a suspect, he's the chief judge of the entire court. It was a bright Monday morning in downtown Atlanta, and the courthouse square buzzed with activity. Lawyers hurried through the marble steps, reporters set up cameras, and police officers kept the crowds in line for one of the city's biggest cases of the year. Among the people walking toward the entrance was Judge Elijah Carter, a tall black man in his late 60s, dressed simply in a gray suit, carrying his worn leather briefcase. His steps were steady, calm, the kind of calm that comes from decades of experience and a soul carved by patience. For over 30 years, Judge Carter had been known across the state for his fairness and integrity. But today he was just another man walking toward a courthouse, and not everyone saw him the same way. At the top of the stairs stood Officer Mark Reynolds, a young white officer fresh from his third year on duty. Mark was proud of his badge, proud of his new courthouse assignment, and a little too proud of the authority it gave him. As he scanned the morning crowd, his eyes landed on Judge Carter. Something about the older man, his quiet confidence, his calm pace, made Mark's instincts kick in. Without thinking twice, he stepped forward. "Sir, excuse me?" he called out, blocking the path. "Courthouse staff only. You can't go in there without clearance." Judge Carter stopped mid-step, his brow lifting slightly. "Good morning, officer." "I believe I have clearance." Mark folded his arms. "Do you now? You don't look like an attorney. What's your business here?" The judge blinked slowly. "My business here," he said evenly, "is justice." A few people nearby turned to look. The tension was instant, subtle, but sharp. Judge Carter reached into his coat pocket, pulling out his courthouse ID. "Here," he said kindly. "This should clear things up." Mark took the badge, glancing at it half-heartedly. "Judge Elijah Carter," he read aloud, skeptical. And I'm supposed to believe this isn't fake?" Judge Carter's expression didn't change. "Why wouldn't you believe it?" Mark shrugged. "Because I've seen plenty of people try to sneak in here with fake IDs. You could have printed this at a library." The murmurs around them grew louder. One woman whispered, "That's Judge Carter." Another muttered, "Oh, no." He didn't just say that, but Mark didn't notice. He straightened his posture. "You'll have to step aside until I confirm your identity, sir." Judge Carter exhaled slowly. "You're welcome to do that, Officer Reynolds, but I suggest you do it quickly. Court starts in 15 minutes. Mark smirked slightly. "Don't tell me how to do my job." A moment later, Clerk Dana Williams, one of Judge Carter's assistants, came running down the steps, her heels clicking sharply. "Officer Reynolds, what on earth are you doing?" Mark frowned. "Just doing my job, ma'am." This man tried to enter. "This man," she interrupted sternly, "is the chief judge of this courthouse." Mark froze. "Wait, what?" Dana turned to Judge Carter, mortified. "I'm so sorry, Your Honor." Judge Carter nodded calmly. "It's all right, Miss Williams." Officer Reynolds was simply thorough, but his tone carried a weight that made the young officer shrink. The bystanders began murmuring again, and someone recorded the entire scene on their phone. Mark's face burned red. I didn't know, sir. I swear I didn't mean—" "I know," the judge said quietly. "You didn't think?" And with that he walked past him, his quiet dignity echoing louder than any argument could. Within hours, the video hit social media. "White cop stops black judge at courthouse." It went viral. Millions of views, hundreds of thousands of comments. Some defended the officer. Most didn't, but no one expected what the judge would do next. 2 days later, Officer Mark Reynolds stood in a small hearing room, nervous and pale. His department had received formal complaints. The chief of police was furious. He'd been ordered to appear before the Judicial Ethics Review Board, the very institution overseen by the man he had publicly humiliated. When Judge Elijah Carter entered the room, silence filled the air. He wasn't wearing his robe, just a plain suit, but his presence was commanding. "Officer Reynolds," he began, his voice steady but firm, "do you understand why you're here?" Mark nodded weakly. "Yes, Your Honor, for..." For my actions outside the courthouse? The judge sat down, hands folded. Indeed. Tell me, why did you stop me that morning? Mark swallowed hard. Sir, I was just doing my job. I didn't recognize you. You weren't in uniform, and do you stop everyone who doesn't fit your expectations? The judge interrupted, his eyes sharp but calm. Or was it because of something else? Mark hesitated. No, sir. It wasn't about race. Did you ask any of the white men walking in beside me for ID? The question landed like a hammer. Mark froze. No, sir. Did you raise your voice to them? No, sir. Then what made me different? Mark looked down, ashamed. I don't know. Judge Carter sighed. That's the problem, officer. You should know. The room was silent. Cameras recorded. The judge continued, you see, prejudice isn't always loud. It's quiet. It's subtle. It hides behind the word procedure, but its damage is the same. That morning you didn't see a judge or even a man. You saw something else and you decided he didn't belong. Mark's throat tightened. You're right, sir. I was wrong. I was disrespectful. I embarrassed you. Judge Carter leaned forward slightly. Do you know what I felt that morning? Not anger, disappointment, because every time an officer abuses his authority, even in small ways, it chips away at the trust between people and justice itself. Tears filled Mark's eyes. I'll do anything to make it right, Your Honor. Then learn, said the judge simply. Learn who you serve. Learn the people behind the uniforms, the colors, the labels. You will spend the next 60 days working with the community policing initiative, no patrols, no arrests, just listening, learning, and serving. Mark's eyes widened. You're not suspending me? The judge smiled faintly. Punishment teaches fear. Education teaches change. One choose the latter. He banged the gavel gently. Hearing adjourned. As the room emptied, Mark approached him nervously. Sir, why give me a chance? After what I did? Judge Carter looked at him thoughtfully. Because someone once gave me one. Justice without grace is just revenge. Remember that. For the first time, Mark understood. Over the next 2 months, Mark Reynolds' life changed. He attended workshops, community meetings, and school programs organized by the Justice Outreach Network, where he met people he'd never truly listened to before, young black men who'd been profiled, families who'd lost faith in law enforcement, and even fellow officers struggling with bias training. He heard their pain, their anger, their exhaustion. And for the first time, he didn't defend himself. He just listened. One evening, as part of the program, Mark volunteered at a youth mentorship event. Judge Carter was there too, sitting quietly in the back of the hall, observing. When it was Mark's turn to speak, he took a deep breath. A few months ago, he began, I stopped a man because I thought I was doing my job. I didn't see him for who he really was, a judge, a leader, a human being. I saw a stereotype. And that moment changed my life. The room was silent. Even Judge Carter watched closely. Mark continued, his voice steady. The badge I wear doesn't give me power. It gives me responsibility. Responsibility to protect, not judge. To serve, not assume. When he finished, the applause was real. Not polite, real. After the event, Judge Carter approached him. You've come a long way, Officer Reynolds, he said with a smile. Mark smiled back. You were right, sir. Education changes everything. Judge Carter nodded. It's not the mistake that defines a man, officer. It's what he learns from it. Weeks later, the department promoted Mark to lead community relations, a position focused on bridging the gap between officers and citizens. He worked closely with the judges' outreach initiatives, ensuring no one else would go through what he did. And every morning, when he stood guard at the courthouse steps, he greeted everyone the same way, with respect, a smile, and the awareness that justice starts long before the courtroom. One chilly morning, as Judge Carter climbed those same marble steps again, Mark saluted him. Good morning, Your Honor. The judge paused, smiling. Good morning, Officer Reynolds. They shared a silent understanding, two men from different worlds, now united by one lesson. Respect isn't given by power. It's earned through humanity.